came to the United States in 1970 when I was 5 years old from Vietnam. In that year, my mom married an American serviceman, not because she loved him, but so she could bring me to the United States, to give me a chance at life. Now recognize I didn't say a chance at a life, a chance at life, to actually live, because we were in a war-torn country. So my mom makes this big decision to leave her family behind, and I say a big decision because in Vietnam, family means a great deal. When we say family in Vietnam, we just don't mean mom, dad, and the kids. You see, we mean mom, dad, the kids, aunts and uncles, cousins, everybody. That's family. And when we say we value family, we actually go ahead and do it. In the United States, what do we do to old people? We send them away from us. What do you think we do in Vietnam and many other places of the world when people get old? We bring them in and take care of them. In the United States, we say we value family, and studies suggest that parents spend less than 15 minutes a day in actual interaction with their kids. That husband and wife pairs spend less than 10 minutes a day in actual conversation. We work on average about 50 hours a week, 50 plus hours a week. Okay? So that conceptual and the operational sometimes don't match, do they? Right? My mom leaves, or makes the decision to leave Vietnam with me, her only son, so that she could give me a chance at life. And again, it's a big decision for her. We arrived in the United States in 1970, in Los Angeles in 1970. As you might imagine, that's not a great time to be Vietnamese in the United States. Okay? It's kind of like being Middle Eastern now, or of Latin American or Mexican heritage now, whether you're documented or undocumented. Okay? It's kind of like that. As soon as we step off the plane and into the airport, people are spitting at us. Spitting at us, spitting on us, hurling horrible words at us. I couldn't understand English at the time, but I could tell the words that they said weren't good ones. And all my mom could do was to shield me, just hold me tight, and take all those spitballs and all those words and absorb them herself. In the neighborhood I grew up in, tough neighborhood, I'd often come home bloodied and beaten from fights that I got into. Oftentimes just because I was the kid from Vietnam. Okay? The Chinese kid, which I wasn't Chinese. The chink, right? The kid with slanty eyes, right? On those occasions when I'd come home all bloodied and beaten, and I'd approach our apartment building, my mom would run out of the apartment. She'd come and she'd grab me and she'd hold me really tight, and she wouldn't say anything, but tears would be rolling down her face. Tears would be rolling down her face. I really didn't know what those tears meant at the time, but I do now. See, those tears meant, she thought she had brought us to a better place, brought me to a better place. And invariably, the United States is a much better place than Vietnam is in many ways. In some ways it's not, but in many ways it is. But see, when we arrived here, it wasn't the place that she was told about. It didn't live out the concept of fairness and equality. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Right? So in many ways, the way we were treated was worse than what we were getting in Vietnam. Okay. The guy that my mom married turned out to be not so cool. First of all, my mom was raised Catholic, and my stepfather forced her to have an abortion. I remember going to the hospital when I was 10 years old. I didn't know why we were going to the hospital, my mom and I. My mom was crying going in. My mom was crying when she left. It seemed like she was always crying when she was here. Right? I didn't find out later until I was in high school that she went to the hospital to have the abortion. That made me very angry and very upset. My stepfather turned out to be not so cool, like I said. He ended up raping his own daughter, my half-sister. He was convicted in 1984 of sexually assaulting my sister. And a year later, my sister ran away with a friend of hers to the Seattle area. I mean, as you might imagine, it was kind of messed up by all the things that my stepfather did. She ran away to the Seattle area with a friend of hers. Later on that summer of 1985, my mom gets a phone call from the King County Sheriff's Department in Seattle. And the detective on the other end of the line says to my mom, he says, Mrs. Robbins, we found the other girl that your daughter ran away with. And my mom said, tell me more. And the detective said, the other girl was found bludgeoned to death. We think she's part of the Green River killings. And my mom said, what about my daughter? And the detective said, we don't know. There's no trace of her. That was 1985, 22 years ago. We still haven't heard anything from my sister. So as you might imagine, that makes things worse for my mom. She goes deeper and deeper in depression. Well, June of 1991 is a very happy time for my mom and myself. That's when I get married to my wife, Donna, in Michigan. My mom comes out for the celebration. We're having this great time, and we get done. My mom goes back home to Washington. That's where she's living at this time. And in the fall of that year, of 1991, I'm starting graduate school at Michigan State University. And I talk to my mom at least once a week, if not multiple times. And in this one particular conversation at the end of October, I'm talking to her, and we're talking about the events of the week. And I'm done, and my mom's about done. And before she hangs up, the last thing she says to me before she hangs up is this. She says, Steve, you have Donna to take care of you now. She says, Steve, you have Donna to take care of you now. And we hang up. About a week later, I get a phone call from Washington State, but it's not my mom. It's a detective from the Benton County Sheriff's Department in Washington. And he says to me, Mr. Robbins, I'm sorry to tell you, but we just found your mom, and she'd hung herself in her shower. See, up until that time, I hated being Asian. I hated being Asian. That's why my name is Steve. I didn't want to be Asian. Why? Because all the messages around me, all those multiple redundant messages around me were telling me being Asian is bad, that you shouldn't be Asian. In fact, you should be white. That's why my name is Steve. I named myself after Steve Garvey, the All-American baseball player, first baseman for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay? See, I internalized all those messages. In the world of race studies, we call that internalized racial oppression or internalized racism. When you start to hate the very people you are, the very people you come from. The equivalent of that for women and for girls is when women start to hate their own bodies, because all the messages around them are telling them that their body doesn't look like what they're supposed to look like. And see, when young women get some of these messages and they can't live up to what the concept says they should be, they resort to some horrible things. Do not underestimate the power of messages. They impact the way we see our world, how we see ourselves, and how we see other people. Okay? Do not underestimate that. So, I hated being Asian. It took my mom's suicide to kick me out of that funk and to recognize all the things she was trying to teach me about being Vietnamese, about being humble, about putting the group, the family, before yourself, about balance, about wholeness. Okay? Fortunately, that was the beginning of my graduate studies. That's why I study the things that I do. I do this work to honor my mom. I do this work to honor my mom, and in doing so, I hope to make a better world for my 4 kids and their friends. Right? And that's why we do this work. Because in the end, it's about caring about other people.